Hello, so it is the last day, day 5 of our Buy or Beware concealer series. If you have not seen any of my other videos this week, then I will link some of them here. Anyway, this is going to be the 5th concealer we're talking about this week, but it's the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I've had this concealer for quite a while. I've talked about it many times before, but I still get questions about why I like it, if I like it, what shade I am, all that kind of jazz. So that's why I'm integrating it into our concealer series. Anyway, this concealer has been around for a while and I've been using it for a while and I really enjoy using it, but it comes in 20 shades. I don't know if they're coming out with more shades or if that's already after they've released new shades, but as of when I checked Sephora half an hour ago, it had 20 shades. This concealer claims to be weightless, full coverage, and also hydrating. It's also supposed to be a 4-in-1 concealer. So it's supposed to conceal, contour, highlight, and retouch. So I only have the one shade, which is in warm beige, which I think they describe as a medium neutral. So I don't really do a lot of contouring with this concealer or highlighting because I only have the one shade, but I have concealed and retouched with it. So you guys know Too Faced is pretty big on integrating fun ingredients into their products. So this is supposed to be infused with coconut water and also hyaluronic acid, which is supposed to make it hydrating under the eyes. This is the packaging, and as you guys can tell, it is quite a bit heftier than your average concealer tube. So these are some of the ones I have here, for example, and you can see it's almost twice the size. This concealer comes with half a fluid ounce of product, so that is 15 milliliters, and I think this is about $36 Canadian. For size and price comparison, you have the Makeup Forever Ultra HD self-setting concealer, which is $35, but it only has 5 milliliters of product. So a little bit more money, it's $1 more, but you also get 10 milliliters less product. Concealers probably average around 8 milliliters, like the Fenty and the Smashbox. So yeah, you still get tons of product in here compared to the average concealer, and you're only paying, $6 or $7 more. The doe foot applicator for this concealer is pretty big. If you're familiar with the Tarte Shape Tape, it's very similar to that. And it is a nice applicator. It's the traditional shaped applicator. It does pick up a nice amount of product and also applies it really nicely. I'll also show you guys some shades to compare this one with some of the other shades that I have in my collection. So here are some of the concealers swatched just for shade reference. The bottom one is the Too Faced concealer in warm beige. This one here is the Smashbox concealer in medium warm olive. Then we have the Glossier stretch concealer in dark or G6. And then the one at the top here is the NARS soft matte concealer in ginger. So with that said, let's go into the application and wear test. This is my bare skin. Before I put on foundation, I thought I would show you guys. I have some redness up here from a couple blemishes that I have, some hyperpigmentation on my cheeks, and then some darkness under my eyes. Okay, so I just took it down a notch in terms of lighting, so you can maybe see a little bit more of the discoloration under my eyes. I do have darkness under the eyes and then a few fine lines. So let's go in with the foundation, and then we'll go in with today's concealer. Okay, so this is the skin with a bit of foundation. I'm going to apply the concealer under the eyes first, and then on the blemishes that I might have on my skin. This concealer has a pretty big applicator, and I just find, again, I do my usual thing. I only apply a little bit of concealer at a time, blend it out. If I need more, I add more. Okay, here is one layer of concealer. It is pretty full coverage. I'd say like probably the higher end of medium to very light full coverage with one coat. I'm going to apply a little bit more just kind of in the inner corner here, and then also just sporadically around the face where I might have some darkness or redness. This concealer does a pretty good job at covering the redness around my nose. I'm not really properly spot concealing on the cheeks, but it does take down, again, the redness a little bit and a bit of the discoloration. Okay, this is how the concealer looks. I haven't set it yet, so you can see it has a bit of a more, like, I guess, this is how the concealer looks. So I have not set it yet. So as you can see, it has a bit of a sheen to it. It has like a shine. It hasn't quite dried down yet, so it still feels a bit tacky. I am going to blow dry my hair and then let this kind of sink in a little bit and then put on the rest of my makeup. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 6:46.
It is 6:46 in the morning, and this is how the makeup looks. I actually forgot to do my cheek product. I'm using, surprise, surprise, the Beige Chanel powder bronzer situation. That is just my go-to in my effort to hit pan on it, which is very unsuccessful. I also don't really have time to do any kind of eyeshadow, but I did put on mascara, so that's good. I am heading to work a little early today, which is why it's 6:47 in the morning. So, okay, this is now the finished look. So let's take a look at the concealer. So this is how it looks. Yeah, it still has like a bit of a sheen to it. I did set both sides, but I have been using for continuity the Dim Light powder from Hourglass. So I don't expect it to be super mattifying because this isn't like a super mattifying powder, but it is a powder that really allows makeup to wear like it would normally wear throughout the day. So we shall see how this looks later on. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 5:41.
Okay, I'm home and it is 5:40 in the evening. It has been a little bit over 11 hours since I applied the makeup. So let's do a check-in to see how it has worn. Overall, I feel like my makeup looks okay. It's faded, of course, after 11 hours, tends to do that. In terms of the concealer, I can see the redness kind of peeking through around my nose. Right here has been really dry, and I've been sneezing and like using tissues all day, so I'm surprised not more of the foundation and the concealer have worn off, but you can see a bit of redness here. In terms of under the eyes, again, it has faded a little bit kind of in the inner corner there. I'll zoom in a second and show you guys that a bit better. But in terms of creasing, I actually don't see any. So no creasing, no moving around, no shifting. It doesn't look cakey. It has faded a little bit, but overall I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks. Here is a little bit of a closer look at my eyes and also my big honkin' blemish right there. Yeah, so I mean, you can see my fine lines a little bit. You can see a little bit of darkness, but overall, it's definitely not as bad as it could be. In terms of the coverage on the cheeks and the blemishes, it's obviously faded quite a bit here, but you can still see that it's covered a bit of the redness, albeit not so much the hyperpigmentation. Full coverage makeup is not really my thing, so I actually don't mind that some of the blemishes peek through. So let's go through my final thoughts about this product. We'll start with the pros. This concealer, like I said, I've been using for a while now, and it wears pretty consistently. Whether I put a primer down or powder or not powder, it pretty much wears the same all the time. In terms of the formulation, I really do like how lightweight it is. The formulation, the concealer is very easy to blend. I do find it to be a little bit hydrating. It is a little bit tacky when you first apply it, but it does dry down to kind of a satin finish. I would not say it's a full coverage concealer though. It's definitely a medium coverage for me, and I happen to like that. I'm not necessarily looking for like a full coverage concealer look. I like how this does overall reduce redness in my skin, and it wears pretty evenly throughout the day, so it's still pretty long lasting. I also really like how it has minimal creasing. So I do have fine lines under my eyes, as you guys have seen, but this doesn't accentuate them. I also really love how you get so much product with this concealer. You get half a fluid ounce, which is half a size of a foundation, and this is such a great, easy to use, buildable coverage that you could probably use it alone without any foundation, maybe even just kind of all over the face, is very easy to spread. So you can get a really nice coverage with just using this product. Okay, so those are the pros. Let's talk about the cons. Now, I only really have one con with this product, and that is I don't feel like it builds well. Meaning if you want a more full coverage look with this concealer, because like I said, it's definitely more of a medium coverage, not a full coverage. So to get a full coverage look, you would probably have to layer the product and also maybe bake and add the powder. And I just don't feel like it wears well when you do that. As soon as you start adding more product, it tends to crease more and it tends to look a little bit cakey and it tends to sit on top of the skin. So for my skin type, which again is combination, oily T-zone, kind of normal, dry everywhere else, I just found that as soon as I started layering the product on top of each other, it had the more tendency to move around and crease despite how thin the layers and how well it was blended. But overall, this concealer is definitely a buy for me because 1, you get lots of product, 2, it's minimal creasing overall, 3, it's very long wearing, at least on my skin type, and 4, it has pretty good coverage. So that is my review on the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. Now, if you have tried this concealer, I would love to hear your thoughts, good or bad, in the comments below. I'm sure other people would love to hear your experience with it also. While this is the last concealer video this week, I will be doing a roundup of the concealers that I reviewed this week and kind of rank each one and give you the quick pros and cons in a really nice, concise video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this concealer series. If there are any other concealers or maybe categories of makeup you would love to see like a review series on, then please let me know in the comments below. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching these videos and found them helpful. Stay tuned for the roundup of the concealers that we tried this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.